Brian Oliver presents Haunting Tales of Madness.
Real Estate, written by Brian Oliver, narrated by Kendra Miller. Property listing: Wellington Mansion, well-maintained and irrigated, 4-acre colonial mansion, perfectly situated in a summer valley. 12,000 plus or minus square foot home with 6 bedrooms and 4 baths. Home has many recent updates, including new roof shingles, windows, paint, plumbing, and floors. Extras include recessed lighting, salon room with wet bar, piano, and half bath, heated deck with 220-volt outlet. Property is perimeter fenced with multiple stables and a newly renovated gazebo. 10 minutes from downtown Williamsburg. Ready for horses, livestock, and toys. Art decor is included. Bedrooms furnished with full-size beds and vanities. Open house this weekend. Hello, I'm Chris. So glad you could come to my little open house. This is Wellington Mansion. Step right in. Now, today is going to be a little bit different. I do apologize, and yes, I have had a glass or two of wine, but you are more than welcome to have your fill. Here, let me just lock the door behind you. Thanks. Better safe than sorry. Don't worry, I am sure it is just me thereafter. Let me show you around and give you a little history on myself and this beautiful mansion. Glass of wine. It was around 10 years ago when I first dived into the world of investment real estate. Believe me when I tell you that I made several mistakes right out the gate. You may watch shows on flipping all day long, but they are nowhere close to how things work in the real world. Very few things are harder than trying to stay afloat and pay what you owe on renovations when your gorgeous 2.5 bath bungalow with new backsplash and the full garden view won't sell for even half of your original asking price. I wish my current locale would fetch some nice coin, but that seems unlikely. I love those shoes. You must tell me where you got them. After the tour, of course. Kitchen is this way. Isn't this just a lovely kitchen? Granite countertops, crystal chandelier, and none of that stupid 70s wallpaper that was here when I first started the remodel. Though I have updated it, it comes with a built-in stone oven. I promise you won't find any of these at the other homes on your list. This is perfect for all types of cooking. Please ignore that slight shudder. The ground started to do that just an hour ago. I'll have it checked out, I promise. As you can see, the sink has been updated with stainless steel and has a small window view. Have you noticed that it's been getting dark so early these days? Just through the double doors, you will find old servants' quarters. What did you say, dear? No, I don't recall hearing any moans under the floor. More wine? It took me a lot of time and effort to get back on my feet. I am not ashamed to say it even required a few weeks of living out of my car in the most literal sense. Mind the banisters, darling? I think the worst bit would be that this new venture of mine eventually cost me my husband. When I look back on it, I can say it was at least half my fault. I was so focused on work, even from home, constantly answering calls and texts that I forgot why I got into this life. I wanted more. I admitted I neglected him in even the simplest ways. I think the last straw came when I started missing dinners. He loved to cook for me. He was quite good at it as well. I started coming home later and later, from doing last-minute repairs to meeting hopeful new homeowners. The cold and now less than appealing meals were replaced with fast food and bottles of wine. I should have noticed his resentment, but I was so caught up in being successful that I failed our marriage. I could tell he was heartbroken when he left, but if I'm being 100% honest with myself, I refused to see it at the time. I blamed him for not being more supportive. I blamed him for not staying up to wait for me to get home later and later, and I blamed him for not asking me when to have dinner ready. Saying sorry was something I was never very good at. There was a bright side, though. Silver lining, as some call it. After he left, I had plenty of time for work and no one to tell me to switch off. Business took off like a firecracker on the 4th of July. Logic tells me that my success won't help me at all this evening. Stop looking at me like that. Let's carry on and head upstairs. I can show you the lower floors later. And mind those scratches in the wall. They only appear at night. My first truly successful flip was a larger 2-story Victorian located just off the main street in a small town. The town was quaint, well kept, and most of the residents were near retirement age. I enjoyed my time in the area. You see, after my husband left, I lived in the homes I was flipping, so this also took care of my wanderlust. I had never really been one to settle down. The home was a wreck when I purchased it. It had been a foreclosure and was previously owned by a military family. While I admit a small amount of guilt over their situation, I could not allow personal feelings to meddle with business. If I had been kinder, perhaps I would have called him for assistance. Doubtful. Oh, please watch your step. The floors had been in flagrant disrepair, the toilets had been soiled with quick-setting concrete, an obvious act of vandalism from the previous owner. The floorboards were coming apart, and there were more than 2 or 3 walls with cracks beginning to form. I almost forgot. After the family left, they ensured the back door was open, so there had been quite a few special little visitors for nearly a month before the home was secured. I should have seen that as a warning, I suppose. By the time I was finished, the home sold for more than double what I had paid for it. The new family that moved in was welcomed by beautiful hardwood, redone walks, sconces, you name it. As to whether or not I fixed the internal issues which were causing the walls to crack, well, that is not really your concern. To be fair, they won't ever know what's going to happen to me. Or should I say, us. Ah, here we have the master suite. Just through those double doors you will find a balcony, but first look at this room. I can't begin to tell you about the work I have done here. Okay, I will. Twist my arm, why don't you? The ceilings were a mess. Had to call in the pros to deal with the mold. It was the oddest thing how it would move around the room. Took 3 calls to finally get it all cleaned up. Funny that they never found the first cleanup guy's body. You can still hear him banging on the wall if you listen closely. Why are you backing away? What was I saying? Oh, yes. 3 fresh coats of paint and the most luxurious curtains I could find. I made this my personal room after the mold was dealt with. As you have surely noticed, the vanity in the corner is quite fetching. It came with the house and seems bolted down very solidly. Just don't stare in the mirror for too long. She doesn't like to be watched. Go ahead, lay down on the bed. You really get a sense of the size of the place when you look up. Just remember to hurry out of bed if you start to feel like roots are pressing their way into the base of your skull. You poor dear. Let me refill your glass. Aren't these walk-in closets to die for? You will have room for every outfit, for every occasion. The shoe cabinets are new. Isn't it neat the way they fold out for more storage? Now, I will say, the brick along the back wall is completely original, so it may look a little rougher than many updates, but nothing I did would stay. I even tried to put drywall over it to match up, but the next morning it was gone, almost like it was sucked into the wall itself. How odd. How truly odd. The Dark One is watching us. He smells our sins. Come on over. Isn't this a lovely balcony view? You know it is. Please let me pour you another glass. You'll want to be numb when the chewing starts. I won't bore you with the details of my career and how I made nearly $600,000 in 1 year before my 30th birthday. I know that sounds pretentious, but I have earned it, I assure you. I could tell you that I would bet good money that my car is nicer than yours, or I could tell you that I don't understand what it's like to not own a 4-story colonial and its own private farmland. I could even tell you that I have learned that money really is the end game and emotions are just a frivolous temptation to keep you from reaching your goals. Don't lean too far over there, dear. They can smell you already. I wouldn't even make that wager that you're starting to really and truly side with my ex-husband in his belief that I'm nothing more than a selfish and narcissistic git. I don't even care. Even those things you hear crawling up from the bowels of the earth won't sway me. There's only darkness in the void. I have more money than God and can afford any friends or company I need. Just to be clear, I am filthy fucking rich and I made my own money. That wealth, however, is of little consequence to our current situation. As I look across the balcony, wine glass in hand, I can see them coming. Just look down there. That's right. Oh, no, we are perfectly safe up here. For now, anyway. See how some of them are without flesh? I bought this home for a song. I had just come off a large sale that netted me a nice nest egg, to be sure. A friend had tipped me off to this particular property after reading about it online. It features an absolutely stunning wraparound balcony on the 3rd floor, a large stained glass window near the front foyer, a complete basement wine cellar, and an attic large enough to be used as a private apartment in its own right. When I looked over the property, it looked like most colonial mansions, but about half the size, and it had the worst paint deterioration I have ever seen. The new paint will surely be covered in blood before the sun rises. Are you all right, dear? Perhaps you need to sit down. A little bit tipsy? The house has a wonderful garden view and includes a private gazebo, absolutely perfect for entertaining. It has 6 pillars of marble, the widest marble, and a picnic table designed by Olivia de Garvin. She's been at the height of the industry for about 6 years now. The gazebo is really the shining star of the garden. At least it was, but I see they've begun to pull it down. Truly a shame. Oh, and the stables. I guess I should have shown you the grounds first. C'est la vie. Let's head downstairs. The rest of the upper floors are starting to darken. Now here we have the main salon of the home. I have cleaned, caulked, painted, and hung some of the finest art I could find, or at least find duplications. I even paid a good portion to have a grand piano placed so that when dinner parties were held, there was a real sense of class. This was not going to be a house for grubby little children to run through with mud on their shoes. You don't have children, do you? Good. This was a house of refinement, dignity, and of course, wealthy appetites. Thinking about the salon, it makes me wonder what they will destroy first upon entry. I would assume the piano. They really do love that piano. Sometimes it plays itself when it thinks no one is looking. As you may have seen in the pamphlet, this home includes 4, that's right, 4 full baths. Here, let me show you one of the larger ones. It's just across the grand hall. Don't worry about the red lights coming through the stained glass. It's just the moonlight. Oh, you know what? Let me just close that door. It seems the bathroom is just a bit of a mess, and I don't want to get red on you. It never washes off. Move away from that mirror. That was a close one. Now, if you look here, tenebre facate non cere eriam. Oh, excuse me. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, there is some great history of the stained glass window from which you can really see above us. It truly bathes the great hall with such splendid colors. Casting your gaze upon it, you can tell the artist really felt inspired with those images of the great darkness coming to cleanse us all. He truly caught the sense of foreboding that you only feel when you know all hope and sanity is lost. When you know that a great coming is near, but you are but a bug on the sole of its heels. Praise the hands that pull us to our doom. Why are you standing so far away from me? You might notice in the upper left-hand corner of the window, our certain doom is expected to reach out from the nether and take hold of our sanity with the baptism of the full blood moon. It calls to us. It calls to us. It calls to us. His hands reach forth and take us to our eternal torment. His glory awaits the willing and unwilling alike. Praise be until the great thing which shall eat our minds and devour our souls. We shall be laid waste unto, and our boneless flesh shall be ground under the great abomination's feet. Wait, why are you running? There's no use. The door is locked, my friend. Now, if I can just get you to come closer to me, I have a ceremonial dagger that I just simply have to show you. Please? If you get too close to the window, I won't be able to stop them from... Oh, dear. Please stop screaming. It only makes it worse. Poor dear. You've let them in. They look hungry, the little devils. Tell me, Can you feel it? Did the wine help? Goodbye.